Yeah.
Setting up. And looks like we are good. All right, here we go. All right, everybody, let's try that again. We had a little technical difficulty, but here we are now. I'm here with Dan Newman, owner, proprietor, along with his wife at Over the Bridge Cafe. If you guys don't know it, Delray Beach, great little restaurant. So Dan, give everybody an idea of your background, where you're from, and all that good stuff.
For sure, yeah. In a nutshell, born and raised Long Island, New York. Went to the University of Delaware, studied restaurant hospitality management. When I graduated, I actually started working for Walt Disney World here in Florida for about 4 years. I was a restaurant manager there, bounced around a couple different places. I went back to the University of Delaware where I was a food and beverage manager at the Marriott on campus for about 3 years. And then made my way back down here to Florida, South Florida, where I started working at the Delray Marriott, now the Opal. I met my wife, Sam, there. She was working there also. And
at the Opal here in Delray?
At the Opal, oh yeah,
I want to hear a little more about this real quick.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I was actually offered the position of a restaurant manager, food and beverage manager at the Marriott. It was the Marriott back then, now it's the Opal. So if I refer to Marriott, it's the Opal. I was the nighttime food and beverage manager. So I covered and operated the 7 different entities that they had there, room service, the different restaurants, everything was going on. And my wife, Sam, was the front office supervisor at the time. So she was the nighttime front office supervisor, as well as was trained to be the manager on duty. So between my training and her experience, we both had a lot of shifts together at night. And the rest is a fairy tale history. So we fell in love, and now we are married, have 2 awesome kids.
How old are they again?
I'm sorry?
How old are they again?
So we have an almost 4-year-old, and the other one is almost 2. Will be 2 months. So they're quite a handful, but obviously they're awesome. They're our best friends. There's nobody on the planet that we want to spend more time with than our kids. So
that's great. That's great. So give everybody an idea. How did you get into your restaurant? You know, obviously you're working for other people. Did you always have that dream to kind of have your own place?
You know, everybody always wants to be their own boss, but I've always had a passion for this industry. I mean, literally from when I was pretty much my kid's age, and my dad and I were up at 4:30 in the morning baking muffins, you know, the little Jiffy muffins, because there was nothing else going on. And that's what we did. I loved cooking. I loved just talking to people. And, you know, ever since I really stepped foot into my first restaurant, it was a little Italian restaurant back in Merrick, Long Island. I knew that this was the industry that I needed to be in. And then I've worked for a lot of different people over my experience, over my years. I've learned a lot what to do, but more importantly, what not to do, how to treat people, but more importantly, how not to treat people. And I've seen a lot, honestly, and I've gotten some really great experiences. And I knew that I needed to wait and be patient for the right time, the right spot. And luckily it came to fruition. Almost December now will be 3 years ago. We opened up Over the Bridge Cafe. It's a little awesome, cool breakfast, lunch restaurant that's right in between the center of Delray and the beaches of Delray. And, you know, we've been, thank God, successful, and we've become almost a staple for Delray. Yes. Our brand has been just becoming stronger and stronger throughout the years. And fortunately now you can't really think about South Florida or Delray and the whole area without really thinking of us, which is really awesome to say. And we're proud of that.
You really are, man. You're a local product. You know, you guys met here. You've got a great little business going there. You're well positioned. And, you know, the food that comes out, you really take a lot of pride in that. And it's one of the things I noticed is your plating skills. Do you feel that that's something you got coming up through hotels and things like that, seeing these different experiences? Like you say, learning the things not to do.
Yeah, you know, and again, I've seen everything. You know, I've done, when I was working with Disney, I did quick service restaurants and I did fine dining restaurants. I mean, at one point when I was actually at the University of Delaware, I was hired to be part of the 5-star 5-diamond restaurant that's owned and operated by the University of Delaware Restaurant Management Department, to actually become like a part-time teacher for them. I mean, I really love doing this and seeing everything from, like I said, the small stuff all the way to the big stuff gave me the knowledge and the experience to show me exactly what I wanted to do and what I needed, what the location needed. Again, I have a lot of different concepts in my head. I've always had a lot of different restaurant ideas. I mean, I remember sitting on the couch with my best friend Jason back in college, just brainstorming really cool ideas, and they're still in there. But the idea was to find the location. The fact that there was this cool little spot that was ready for a rehaul and ready for a brand new niche for Delray Beach. I saw that opportunity and I just went with it. And I knew it would be successful. I didn't know it would take off this crazy this soon, but thank God it has, because it's been one heck of a ride.
So you're saying basically the space kind of dictated the cuisine? Is that the way it worked?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, everyone always says location, location, location. I mean, it's true. I mean, I could have opened up another little dinner spot, but I would be competing with every other large restaurant on the avenue. I mean, why would somebody want to come to Dan Newman's little Italian restaurant that I would open up on the avenue versus Tremonti's or Vic and Angelo's or one of these big brand name places that, you know, people have grown to know and think about when you think of the avenue? But you don't think of breakfast, you don't think of brunch, you don't think of lunch. Nobody was really doing it the right way. Nobody in the area was really doing breakfast all day. And those who attempted it weren't doing it the right way. So we saw that.
I love what you're saying there. I really do. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw that opportunity, and instead of just going with the same thing that you see on the restaurant, another Mexican restaurant, another Italian restaurant, another you know, quick pizza joint. I mean, it doesn't make a difference. There's so many of them on the avenue, and a lot of them are great. Now, again, I have, you know, there's a lot of great competition on the avenue, but I didn't want the competition. I wanted to be unique and stand out. And Over the Bridge Cafe was born.
That's a great thing, and that kind of leads us where we're going with the COVID. You saw the lay of the land basically, and you were like, okay, I see that. I don't want to compete with that. How can I carve out my little niche? And like you said, you saw that breakfast wasn't really being offered or not offered in the way that maybe you were envisioning it. And with that particular space, you said, wow, this would be great. You know, early morning, people hanging out, a couple of 10-speed bikes out front, people drinking mimosas, you know, couple having a day after they went out for the night or whatever. It's just a great meeting place and where it was positioned. So you didn't try to force your concept. You know what I mean? You weren't a,
that's the thing. There's no forcing involved.
You were like, the space dictated what you needed to do there. That's awesome, man. You know, you see people thinking like that so much, which kind of leads me into what happened. You know, after St. Patrick's Day, all of our lives changed dramatically, as everybody knows. I mean, that's kind of why we're doing a Zoom instead of an in-person. What was your initial business like right after COVID hit? Can you give us like a setup of the scenario? I mean, you know, where were you when Kennedy got shot?
Yeah, one of those scenarios, right? Yeah, I remember it. Believe it or not, it was literally about 2.5, maybe 3 hours after I put my liquor and beer and wine order in for the St. Patty's Day weekend. I literally got off the phone with my my rep, and I ordered. I don't want to tell you how much stuff I ordered for that. Literally, it must have been 2.5 hours, 3.
Still sitting on green beer?
Yeah, trust me, it's still, we drank it, but it's anyway. I got I think it was a phone call from a friend of mine in the city, and she said, it's happening. Starting tomorrow, you have to do takeout only. And as much as my heart dropped, I knew this was going to happen. I mean, it kind of almost seemed like it was going to transpire this way. As much as we didn't want it to, it kind of seemed like all the arrows were pointing in this direction. So it was disheartening, and I knew that I was going to have a lot of beer to run as specials and a lot of mimosas to get rid of. But we just had to think of what we were going to do next. You know, we didn't know what takeout.
You didn't get stuck in the past. You didn't lick your wounds or anything. You were kind of like, all right, so how do we make this work?
That's it. I mean, you know, you could cry over spilled milk, or you can go get the freaking paper towel, clean it up, and pour yourself a new glass. I mean, just, you know, figure it out. And that's what we did. I mean, it took about a week. It took about a week. I told a lot of my staff, unfortunately, you know, I don't know what's going to happen, but you got to take the week off. In a week, we'll kind of reassess everything. I kept only essential employees for like the first week. And then when we realized that even the essential employees, unfortunately, were costing money in a time that we couldn't afford right now, we pretty much have to just give them the let go also. Everybody fortunately understood, but at the same time, it was disheartening. Here are my 20 hardworking employees who basically put bread on the table for my family, and I have to tell them, you let go. I don't know what else to say. So
how much, can you give us an idea how much your business did drop initially, percentage?
Initially, it was pretty bad. I mean, we're talking about like 80%. Just, I mean, because you got to think about, especially a restaurant like us who is soaking up that brunch Saturday and Sunday, where you have people just having bottomless mimosas and hanging out and listening to music and eating and drinking, having a good time. That experience no longer existed. Now we're just hoping that we can sell as much takeout food as we can. And okay, so we understood that, and that's exactly what we have to do. So, you know, unfortunately, my staff had to take some time off. I brought back some staff throughout the first couple of weeks, depending upon how business was. So I was able to bring back, you know, 3-4 employees. But, you know, the bottom line is we did lose a lot of business, and we had to adapt to this new norm, which was take out and to go. Curbside, gloves on, masks on, Purell everywhere, and just making sure people felt comfortable with what we were doing, which was just following protocol.
Did you do anything specific to kind of let people know that you were doing curbside or takeout now, or
all social media? I mean, everything's just social media. Facebook, social distancing supper club. I mean, again, such a huge help. I can't stress that enough. I mean, as soon as this whole thing happened and the whole cause came out, I mean, becoming a part of that was huge. Everybody knew that this was the club, this was the group to focus on for places that were trying to survive and doing it the right way. Awesome. So, I mean, flat out having that publicity, more or less, from you guys and from everybody that was helping out for the cause, that was a huge plus. I mean,
for people who may not know, and we might have to repost this, we got some press about a month into it, and the Today Show did a weekend special, and you know, he was like, okay, tomorrow I need like a breakfast place, and we just thought, what epitomizes Delray Beach more than Over the Bridge? And
it was awesome. Absolutely amazing.
He stood right in front where I stood and did one a couple of days ago, but it was awesome to see you guys on there. It was so great. You know, people coming out with mimosas in the background, and we couldn't ask for a better scenario, and so happy for you guys on that. And I hope that helped out a little bit, you know.
It helped out a lot. I mean, you know, and just the fact that, you know, we have friends in California that were watching the Today Show and texted me and was like, hey, did I just see you on TV? And like, yep, that was me. You know, we made it big.
So have you found that business has come back steadily? Has it fluctuated?
So, yeah, I mean,
new business?
We definitely saw, once we were able to, you know, open up again, and again, we're all outdoor restaurant. We don't have any indoor dining. So even when the codes came out that you can only open 25% or 50% or whatever, you know, the rule was, it actually didn't apply to us because it only applied to the occupancy of your building. And since we didn't have any indoor dining, it was all outdoor dining. We did obviously, and still are following social distancing protocols, 6 feet apart tables, not seating parties anything more than, I think, you know, 10 or more. We can say we got to split you up into 2 different tables. Everyone has to wear a mask walking through the restaurant, walking into the restroom. Once you're at your table, obviously, you know, you can take it off to eat. But, you know, we're following every single protocol that we're supposed to just make sure that we're pushing through this as best that we can.
Do you find the customers are usually pretty compliant with you? I've heard some horror stories. How is it personally with your situation?
You know, we've been pretty good. We've had the occasional 1 or 2 people that just roll their eyes, but you know, they can't do anything about it. I mean, and we can't do anything about it. They can't do anything about it. You know, we did have a couple people that don't have a mask. They didn't bring a mask with them. And again, fortunately, we're outdoors. So if we had to get to a table, we would just literally walk them around the entire building to get to their table, just to make sure that they avoid walking through the restaurant and potentially disrespecting other patrons that are there, or breaking any sort of code or ordinances out there right now.
Yeah, and that's why I tell people all the time, you know, if you love your restaurants, just, you know, get off the soapbox for a little bit, put the damn mask on, get to your table, you you know, save your opinions for another day. These guys need our help. They need, you know, people just to go out and eat. That's all they really want. Just come in, have a good time, try our food out, relax, forget about it for a while. But if you go to the bathroom, please just throw a piece of cloth over your face. And
it's not for you, it's to protect everybody else.
Enforcing them.
It's just a sign of respect. That's all it is. I mean, you know, no matter what the government, CDC, whatever recommends us doing or mandates us to do, again, it's just doing it out of respect for our fellow human beings. There's nothing against that at this point.
I think your restaurant is probably in a better position because, you know, you kind of have a low overhead where you are and you're a smaller space. You're not really alcohol driven, although you do have a great bottomless mimosa and your candy, cotton candy.
The cotton candy mimosa.
It's absolutely off the charts. And
yeah, they got a lot of feedback because of our little video the other day.
Flavors of mimosas. You've got mango. You've got all these purees and juices that you add to it, which is an awesome touch. You know, and that's what I say. You really got all the details nailed. You really have made that experience a unique. You can't get the type of experience you're going to get it over the bridge anywhere else. So how have you stayed proactive now that we're in this state? You know, a lot of restaurants got affected 2 weeks ago when all that confusion came out about the alcohol rules. And pretty much since then, a lot of the people I know that rely more on alcohol sales or that dine-in experience, they're really hurting right now. So the fact that you were able to get that pickup, takeout model, that curbside going, I think is key. And it's key to every restaurant that's trying to survive right now in this particular situation. What do you think about that?
You know, it's important. It's not what you know, it's who you know. You know, it's an age-old saying. And going into this crazy time and being in the middle of it now, you got to have the right people in your corner. You have to have a right partnership with the right people. I have honestly an amazing partnership with US Foods. They're my food purveyor, my food. My guy, Ashley Gray, he's incredible. I mean, he's helped me out throughout this whole thing. He has some incredible people that work with US Foods that have helped me basically build this to-go model where, again, it's all nice bags. It's the to-go containers. It's the seals that seal the food that shows that nothing's been tampered with. It's the wrap plastic silver with the napkins and the salt and pepper all already in there. It's all the little touches that make us who we are, make us unique and stand out about being the ones that are doing it right. You need to just be able to adapt and have the right people. Again, I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. You need to be able to rely on the right people to help you out throughout this whole thing.
So you're basically saying US Foods and particularly Ashley Gray did a great job of kind of coaching you.
Definitely.
You know, so I think that's a great message for a lot of the restaurant folks that may be out there. Hey, lean on your purveyors a little bit, lean on your vendors a little bit, because they have to be proactive too, because they get their business from your business.
Exactly. And, you know, it was, you have to just think, you just gotta be smart about things. You know, when this whole pandemic hit, you know, you got to think about people like US Foods. Think about how many restaurants got shut down and stopped ordering food. They had warehouses of food that they had to get rid of. They were dumping at cost because it was going to go bad. They'd have to throw it away. And, you know, I personally took advantage of some of those incredible deals and just, you know, that's how we were able to come up with that amazing filet mignon.
Let's dig a little deeper there. How did you take advantage of that? Could you give us some examples maybe to help some of the restaurants watching this?
Definitely. I mean, unfortunately, literally right after this great example happened, we had like, you know, the meat crisis of 2020. So of course, it's just non-existent anymore. But for instance, they had cases upon cases of beef tenderloin that they had to get rid of. And they were literally getting rid of them basically at cost. So whatever money I was able to figure out, I bought a case or two of these things and was able to resell filet mignons at an incredible price because I was able to get them at an incredible price. It wasn't like it was bad quality. It was some of the best quality that you could possibly get. You just have to think smart and take advantage of situations. I mean, how is someone able to sell 2 filet mignon full meals with salad, dessert, fruit for $35? Total. I mean, that's like it's unheard of, but we were able to do it and our food cost was still perfect because we took advantage of an amazing situation. That, again, my buddy Ashley was able to help me, coach me along and make sure that I was doing the right thing during this whole thing.
Have you done any menu revamping at all since this happened? I know we had talked a little bit about, one of the things I tell restaurants is, pull up your P&L. Let's take a look at it. Let's take
Sure.
the top 30% of your items, draw a line under that, and basically get rid of everything. And then let's see if we can repurpose stuff that's up here, not to take away quality, but to kind of streamline what you're ordering every week.
Definitely.
So you're not wasting.
Now, I didn't necessarily make a permanent change to my menu, but during, let's say, the 8 weeks of the pandemic, once my lobster salad ran out, I really had to think about whether or not I wanted to order another $400 worth of lobster meat, whether or not that was going to sell, whether or not am I spending money and going to sit on inventory for such a long time. That decision, came clear once that hit. At some point, you have to decide, yes, of course, this does make me a lot of money, but I have to spend a lot of money to be able to make this money. This might not be the best thing for me to do right now. So certain items I wound up having to 86 off the menu for an extended period of time. It wasn't that bad, but that was my plan if it did get bad. Now, fortunately, we were able to kind of get started sooner than we expected. Business picked up, even after just the first couple of weeks into the pandemic, even again, utilizing you guys and putting those awesome specials out there. I mean, our business picked up. So that concept I had for the first couple of weeks, I honestly didn't have to follow because my inventory was still flowing. There really wasn't much that I had to stop ordering, but that was my plan. I mean, you don't know. And that's the biggest thing about this whole time right now is you don't know. You have to kind of experiment and you have to kind of be smart and think and be unique and separate yourself from everybody else and do something that's just going to make you you.
And to that point, I read the article this morning, Broward County, they're getting a little worried right now that they're going to get locked down again pretty much because of what's going on in Miami.
Exactly.
And, Mark Falsetto, who's a restaurant operator that I know down in Fort Lauderdale, he's like, I'm only ordering 3 days worth of food right now because God forbid tomorrow I wake up and the news is bad. And that's how quick changes are coming around. That's why, I'm trying to articulate to people what these restaurants are going through right now. Imagine ordering for 5 days and all of a sudden you wake up in the morning and, the county's decided only outdoor dining or whatever it may be. That's going to reduce your numbers.
And that's why, again, my wife and I were fortunate that we have this small restaurant because the bigger the restaurant, almost the bigger the problem right now. Because for some of these big restaurants to survive, I mean, in order to just not even survive, just get reopened, to reoperate, you have to now order in inventory, beer, wine, liquor, food. You have to get your employees back here. You have to, get your utilities back up and running. I mean, you have to go out full swing because you don't know what's going to happen. And like you said, tomorrow we can get a phone call saying, that's it, you're done for God knows how long. And then what? What do you do again with all the inventory you ordered? What do you do with all the employees that you said, come on back, we're up and running again? We find ourselves right back in that situation we were 4 months ago when this thing first started.
That's a great point. So many people don't realize the CapEx expense every time you open up after shutting down. There's CapEx, and to your point, whether you do $5 or whether you do $500 or $5,000, your electric bill is still going to be the same.
Exactly.
All those bills are still going to be the same. So there's a point where you're not, like Tim Petrillo in that same article said, I wish I knew what the future held, because at this point I'm thinking I just need to lock the doors. A lot of restaurants were just opening up so their employees can make money. They weren't making money. They were breaking even or even losing a little bit, but they were okay with that.
Yep.
And then it became like, all right, well, this is unsustainable. I can't.
What are we doing at this point? It's almost this, we did it for the 8 weeks that, some of these businesses were able to get the loan that helped them get through the, 8 weeks of payroll and utilities and yada, yada, yada. But we're way past 8 weeks at this point. I mean, now what? What are we supposed to do now? And again, we're in the middle of July. We are past the middle of July at this point. We are more than halfway throughout the year. We are in the middle of summer in the worst 3 months of the year for us. Now what? And I'm not asking you, I'm asking the people that wanted to try to help us out. Now what? What do you expect us to do now?
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. So obviously you've made changes to your inventory process. You've scaled your menu back. You're not ordering as far out as you normally would. Any other things involved in inventory that you've kind of shifted on, or different type of mindset?
I mean, again, you got to think about every little aspect of what you're spending money on. The fact that linen, the fact that my linen needs to be cut back tremendously because, again, the model has now transformed into more takeout to go. Instead of me spending a couple $100s on linen a week, now I have to spend a couple $100s on to go silverware. So it's not like I'm saving
Right.
the money in the linen. You just have to allocate the funds accordingly. Don't waste your money on linen when it's just going to sit in the closet or wherever you keep your linen for the next couple of weeks, when you need to be spending that money on things that are going to help you make money and help you push this to-go model, which has obviously been proven to be successful.
So how have your numbers, if you have an idea of how your percentages have changed, like going into COVID, what percentage of curbside were you doing versus now what you're doing for curbside?
I mean, before any of this happened, curbside was like once a month. It was nothing. I mean, nobody really did curbside with us. It wasn't anything that we even thought about. We did curbside for the occasional elderly person that didn't want to get out of the car or something like that. But once this thing happened, it was 50% of our to-go orders were, unless it was obviously like an Uber delivery dudes or something like that, where the driver's obviously coming to the takeout counter to pick up the food. I'm going to say more than 50%, 60% of people wanted curbside, definitely. And again, it was very easy. You pull up on Atlantic Avenue, we have a little area. You can literally pull up right there. We run it out to you, or we have a back parking lot that you can hang out in. We'll bring it right to you. Again, gloves, masks, the whole 9 yards, making sure that we're doing the right thing. So now, again, once we got reopened and business started going a little bit, a little better for everybody, we definitely saw a decrease of that to-go business and curbside. But again, now we're seeing it, go back to the other side. It's literally, because of what's happening, because of like what you just talked about, the fact that Broward's talking about possibly shutting down and, are we next? That's the big question. People are starting to worry, get nervous, and want to just do the takeout and the curbside. And it's easier for them. It's much, much easier for them.
And you've got a reputation now of making that a pleasant experience, of making that an efficient experience. And I keep trying to reiterate to restaurants, you got to really be nailing your curbside right now. Servers got to be on top of it when they pull up. What's your order? I hear people are getting makes and cars, whatever it may be, so they can distinguish, so the folks don't have to get out of their car. You guys are doing a great job at that. And I wish more restaurants would take that to heart, because I think going forward, especially right now where we are, if we're in this kind of a situation, it's going to be your only chance of survival, unless you're just going to shut the doors and
100%
blow over.
And again, you can shut the doors and wait for it to blow over. I mean, by all means, no one's going to stop you. But again, if your livelihood depends upon your business, you can't do that. You have to figure out something else. You have to come up with a plan. And again, our plan was, again, after that first week and we had to let all our employees go, it was my dad and I. My dad, who is not in this industry. My dad owns his own business. He's in the trucking industry. He works out of his home. I mean, but he also has a reputation. He actually opens the restaurant. He used to every single day, basically, for us, because he never sleeps. But the restaurant for us in the morning. He had his own group of people that would be walking by with their dogs and saying hi to him, and literally would pop their head in. I'd be there, and he was like, "Hey, is Rob there? Rob here?" I'm like, "But Rob, as in my dad? Like, he's not here." It's like, "Oh, okay. Can you tell him, Jerry says hi?" Like, "Yeah, no problem. Whatever you say, Jerry." So, my dad's got a great personality. He took care of the front of the house. He learned it. He learned how to use the POS system. He learned the proper way how to put to-go food together in the containers, and he wore a mask and gloves the whole time. And I think he did it with a smile on his face. Again, I couldn't tell under the mask. He had a good time, and I was in the back cooking the food and just cleaning, doing dishes. Again, you got to do whatever it is you need to do to get through this.
Just I keep telling people, it's time to swallow your pride, man. You gotta, if you're used to doing $35 dishes, if you can do if you can send pizzas out the door and the margin's better on it, and you do it. Do what you got to do right now to get by. If you got to sell some supplies, or in the beginning, everybody was getting toilet paper and the sanitizer at your restaurant, turning into part purveyor, part grocery store. Whatever you can do to survive. Those are the people that are going to do it. To your point, though, one thing I want to touch on before we break is you talk about your social media. We've kind of provided a platform that you've taken advantage of. do you have any kind of notes maybe for other restaurant people that may be listening about how you're approaching social media and what you're doing to be so successful?
Sure. I'll tell you the truth. I'm not very social media savvy. Most of our social media actually comes from my amazing sister, who actually doesn't even do this for a living. She's an art consultant down in Miami, but has a knack for this and talent, and is incredible, and is the best, and has helped us out throughout this whole journey. And my wife, Sam, who actually does all the social media stuff for us as well. Between the two of them, I don't think we'd be where we are. My suggestion is to get a sister who would be willing to do it for free for you. Just kidding. That would be number one. But no, number two is don't go overkill. Don't shove yourself down people's throats. Don't every second when someone opens up their news feed on Facebook, you're right there with a new special, a new something, a different picture. Nobody wants to hear about you all day long. Let them know what you got going on. Put together a really cool special, something unique, something different. And again, blast that special.
You guys were doing what? The cannoli pancakes, or what were you guys doing?
Yeah, well, we're doing for the summer, we're doing a cool summer promotion. It's not on our menu, but again, through the Social Distance Supper Club, it's kind of like a secret thing. If you come into the restaurant or you even call an order, we actually do a cannoli stuffed French toast, which is just out of this world. It's literally homemade cannoli cream stuffed into 2 huge college stuffed French toast. We put chocolate chips on top, whipped cream, chocolate syrup. I mean, it's awesome. But again, it's not on the menu, and it's something that we don't even talk about. But if you go on social media and you go on the Social Distance Supper Club, you will see that cool post of, hey, mention the Social Distance Supper Club. Talk to us about the cannoli stuffed French toast. It's yours. It's just cool little things that make people feel special. Got to make people feel special, no matter what.
And that's the I'm trying to think of the chain out west. They've got a few of the burger chain.
Jack in the Box, In-N-Out Burger.
In-N-Out. Like I lived there, and I'd order, and I was with somebody one day, and they're like, dude, you got to try animal style. I'm like, what the hell is animal style? It's not on the menu. I'm like, oh, dude, just order it. And I'm all right. I said animal style. And then I found out there was this whole lingo inside that's not on the menu. The menu is very basic. I just thought that was the coolest thing. So kudos to you. That's a great way to make people feel special. Great way to, surprise and delight, which is what the restaurant business is all about. So one last thing I was going to say or ask you, how do you see the future laying out for restaurants in your opinion? Sorry.
I could guess, but again, nobody has any idea. What I think is going to happen is unfortunately, I do think that we are going to have to go through some sort of shutdown again. I don't know how bad it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow or if it's going to happen in 6 months from now. But unfortunately, until this virus can be controlled, or there could be some sort of way for people to become healthier if they do contract it, I think it's going to be tough for our industry that is just solely based upon people coming together and laughing and drinking and eating and sharing food and having a good time. I think it's going to be tough. I hope it doesn't happen. I really don't. I really hope that it doesn't happen, but I think it might have to happen somehow in order to get this thing a little more contained. And if it does happen, honestly, regardless if it does happen or if it doesn't happen, we have to concentrate on the takeout model. Again, they can come back tomorrow and say, hey, guess what? We found a cure. Everything's going to be okay. Guess what? Doesn't make a difference. You're going to still have half the population still going to be scared and worried about going out and just being normal again. People are worried. People are having to figure out different ways. You have people getting their groceries delivered on a daily basis. They don't even want to go to the grocery store now. So even when this thing is over, it's still going to take a very long time for our industry to build back some sort of normalcy. So we have to be ready for this adaptation for the long haul, because it's not going to be short term. But the sooner we adapt to it, the sooner we accept it, the sooner we figure out how to do it the right way, the sooner you'll be able to keep your business successful and above water, which is obviously what we want to do during this time.
Awesome stuff, Dan. I really appreciate you taking the time out to sit down and discuss. I'm hoping the restaurants got some information out of this. You dropped some real gold out there. I really appreciate it. you know, you guys are really, you know, Over the Bridge is such a family operation. I mean, your sister's doing the marketing.
Yeah.
Your dad came in off the bench when you needed him.
Yep.
Your wife is there every day. You're there every day. Every time I go by and I see you, you're in the kitchen cooking. I mean, this is a hands-on operation. And like I said, you guys turn out a great product. I'll give you the last words here if you want to say something to anybody out there, and we'll wrap it up. But I really appreciate your time, my friend.
Yeah, of course. Honestly, it's the same last words that I gave when we had the live interview at the restaurant the other day. I mean, I can't thank everybody out there for the support. Again, it's not about us. It's about you guys. You know, without you guys doing what you're doing to help us survive, we wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't be having this conversation. I mean, from the beginning of this thing, you guys all said, we need to keep this place open. We need to help them survive. And I hope that you guys feel that way about other restaurants locally as well, because it's important for all of us to stay strong and for us to just stay tight as a community and get through this together. Nobody will be able to do this by themselves, no matter what. So I thank everybody out there for their support and their help during this whole thing. And I'll tell you that I'll be more than happy to help anybody out there. I'm an open book. If you guys, anybody needs to get a hold of me for anything, please contact John, get my phone number, get my information. I'll be more than happy to answer anything. I'm here for you guys just as much as I hope you'd be there for me.
Awesome. You're gonna bring tears to my eyes, man. Awesome stuff. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dan. And we'll see you, man.
Thanks, buddy. Really was a pleasure. Talk to you later on. Be good.
Take care, you too.
Bye-bye.